All right, we're going to focus on the topic of MAA Group. Berhad is a Malaysian investment holding company listed on the main board of Bursa Malaysia, and MAA has a long history commencing operation as Malaysian American insurance company Berhad MAAB in 1968, which was principally engaged in general and life insurance businesses in 1985. And we can see on that year, 1985, MAAB has changed its name to Malaysian Insurance Alliance Berhad, which we know as MAA Assurance currently. And for this time, let's take a look on MAA Group next plan and what strategies are in focus. And ready in the studio with me, the man, the leader himself, is the Executive Chairman of MAA Group Berhad, Tunku Datuk Yaacob Khyra. I want to say thank you very much, Tunku, for joining me this morning. Definitely, if you want to talk about talking about the MAA Group, which has a long history, including you in terms of leaderships. And we know that recently MAA Group announced its decision to sell an 85% stake in its Philippine General Insurance arms, which is the MAA General Assurance Philippines to Triple P Philippines. And the deal value at 49.3 million US dollar, approximately, if we translate into Malaysia, is 234.86 million ringgit in cash, also include an option to sell the remaining 50% stake at 8.7 million US dollar within a 40-month period. And then maybe, Tunku, you can start. Maybe you can share with us how is the current stake for MAA Group currently, with the decision has been made about the to sell an 85% stake, and what and where the direction of MAA Group after this?
Yes, thank you. MAA Group, as you know, has been an insurance business almost its entire life. And I joined the group in 1987 when the insurance company was the 16th life insurance company and a very, very small general insurance company. But over the years, we've grown the insurance business to be very large in Malaysia. And roughly about 10 years ago, we made the decision, the board made the decision that we would exit the insurance industry when we sold 100% of our composite insurance company, the MAA Assurance Berhad, to Zurich Insurance. We did at a fair price. We sold at 2 times book, which is considered very, very good today. And about 3 years later, we also sold our Takaful operations, again to Zurich, and that time was 5 times book. So from our point of view, although insurance is a good business, there is a time when to exit the industry is when somebody pays you an indecent amount of profits for doing it. So when it came to MAA Philippines, the offer from Triple P was basically to buy to MAA Philippines, and they offered us a 1.7 times book, which the board considered to be a very good price. And so we exercised the transaction, and we sold 85%. Now, we hope to keep the 15%, but we have given the option to Triple P that if they want that 15%, they can have it, but we'd rather keep it personally. Which means we no longer have any insurance business in Asia, although we are eyeing something in Europe, but more on that when something happens. But going forward, in insurance business has always been involved in education, in the training of agents from passing their exams to be able to sell and continuing education. So a natural extension for MAA Group would be to expand into education sector. So around about 6, 7, 8 years ago, we bought into St. John's International School. Now, St. John's International School is a school that in Bukit Nanas, next to St. John's Institution. I apologize, it wasn't 6, 7 years ago. 6, 7 years ago, we bought into a tuition center. We bought into the school only about 3, 4 years ago. And that was, if you go to St. John's School, you have a residence block that the old brothers used to live in. And so what had happened was they given permission, the LaSalle brothers given permission for us to start an international school with the LaSalle brothers. And that was what happened. And today, St. John's International School is full. We have 700 students in the secondary school and 400 in the primary school.
All right, definitely that's the plan and the direction that the MAA Group is heading on next. And to add more on the education and investment, what are the trends and developments in the education sector that inspire the MAA Group to shift its strategic investment toward education at this time?
Yes, well, I think education is one of the core needs of the human being, okay, apart from food, obviously. And since we'd already been in the education sector in training of the agents, it was a natural progression to expand into education for children. Okay, so our strategy is basically to cover the entire spectrum of education, from kindergarten to primary school, secondary school, and tertiary education. Now, some of the challenges, however, is that we see there's a great demand for primary and secondary independent education, whereas in the tertiary side, the area tends to be a little crowded. So in our case, as I mentioned, we've invested in St. John's International School. I also mentioned, about 10 years ago, we invested into a tuition center called Kasturi Tuition Center, which has been around for roughly 30 years, and that's done very well for us. Going forward, we want to do more in the education field, and come this September, we shall be opening 3 more schools. All right.
Okay.
The first school I would mention would be in Kota Kinabalu. It's going to be called it's called Imperium International School. It's for secondary students, providing just like in St. John's International School, the Cambridge United Kingdom assessment curriculum. And we hope that will do very, very well in Kota Kinabalu. But come September this year also, we shall be opening a day school, an international school also in Kuala Lumpur. We've tied up with a very famous English boarding school called Cheltenham College. And we hope to be, by September, we'll get all the approvals to be able to launch Cheltenham College Malaysia. All right? And this will cover students from primary and secondary school, including A-levels. So the primary school will be doing the UK curriculum. Secondary school will be focusing on IGCSE and A-levels. And this is something quite amazing because Cheltenham College is a very, very famous boarding school. It's 171 years old, based in the west of England. In fact, in year 2022, it won the Best Independent School Award in the UK.
Oh, okay.
And also come September, we will also be opening a boarding school. And this time it will be in Italy, near Lake Como. It will also be Cheltenham College. But this time the location is a beautiful 2 hotels that MA had acquired, which we're converting now into a residential block and an education block. It will be targeted only for secondary school students, mainly from 3rd form, which is year 10 up to A-levels. The target clients will not be Italians. The target clients will be international students from the whole world, from China, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, India, Middle East, Africa, and the United States. So we hope to be able to fill those schools up very quickly. The target here would be for students who want to go to the UK boarding system but can't get in. So in the UK system, most of these schools are roughly about 700 students per school, and spread over 5-year groups, Form 3, Form 4, Form 5, and the 2 A-level years, which means on average it's 140 students per year group. Now to remain English, most of the English schools keep their foreign content of students to no more than 20%. So that means no more than 28 students from overseas can enter an English boarding school per year.
Okay, that's a quota.
That's roughly the target, the quota, which means perhaps 1 Malaysian might get in, 1 person from Hong Kong might get in. And there are only about 20 international, high quality independent international boarding schools in the UK, which means there's so limited spaces for international students to get into UK and experience the boarding school experience. So what Cheltenham College and MAA Group has decided to do is let's open a campus in Europe so that foreign students can get a seat in the school in Europe, not necessarily in England because England is very expensive, somewhere in Europe where the weather is warmer, nicer, and we picked northern Italy, near Milan, near Lake Como, a beautiful space to do just that, to cater for all the international students who want to have the English boarding school experience in Europe, and hopefully after they've done their IGCSE or A-levels, they can move on to a proper English university in England. Right. So that caters for that market. Now, of course, there are other people who want to do IB, International Baccalaureate. Those people would normally typically go to Switzerland. However, the thing in Switzerland, boarding schools, the fees are double that of the UK. So we believe we shall be catering to the demands of international parents who want their kids to have that holistic boarding school experience, but at an affordable price.
It's going to be a busy month, week, year for Tunku and even the group.
Yes.
And maybe you can share some of outlines, the primary goals the group hopes to achieve through its investment in education and how this is aligned with the broader mission to boost the education ecosystem.
Yep, okay. Now, education, we are covering the entire ecosystem from the high-end schools, which is with Cheltenham College, Italy, and Cheltenham College, Kuala Lumpur, to the more affordable range, which is St. John's International School. St. John's International was started with the LaSalle brothers with the intention of providing high-quality education at a reasonable price. So like St. John's International School, their average school fees would be like something like 25,000 ringgit a year, 2,000 a month, which is very affordable, and we've achieved that very, very well in St. John's. We're getting the top marks in IGC exams, we're getting top marks in A-levels for an affordable price. Now, on the other spectrum, you have the higher end schools, which would be like Cheltenham, Malaysia. Their price range would be in the 80,000 ringgit range, of course. The education quality will be as good, or if not better, but plus the other facilities and activities that will be offering. So our range is very large. Now in Kota Kinabalu, where we'll have Imperial International School, that will be in the price range of what, 35,000, because it's more expensive in KK. The parents in KK have already said, look, Tunku, please don't give me local teachers. Okay, please bring them from Kuala Lumpur. Okay, bring them from Kuala Lumpur. They've had the experience, so they can impart the knowledge that parents expect children to get if they were studying in KL, but bring it to KK, all right? So in the overall sense for the MAA Group, of course we see the education business as a very profitable business, but like many businesses, when you start a school, in the first 2-3 years you will lose money because you haven't got full students yet. So but we know that. We have deep enough pockets to weather the first 3 years of, we expect some losses. But after that, the revenue will be steady and pretty guaranteed. We saw during COVID, in 2020, 2021, although other businesses were affected, the education business continued very strongly. Yes, we had to go online, but parents, make sure their students go to school and get their marks. And we see this long term as one of the core activities for the MAA Group, apart from financial services.
Definitely, we hope to fulfill that goals and target for MAA Group. And we want to see how the group is focusing on the educational investment on particular geographic regions, communities, and how can we see all of these choices reason behind the targeted approach?
Okay. Geographically, of course, we come from KL, so naturally, main investments is in KL. We've got St. John's International School here. We've also got Kasturi Tuition Centre here. I forgot to mention, we also have another tuition centre called Alpha Academic, which does tuition online for IGCSE subjects, UK curriculum subjects. And naturally, Cheltenham College, Kuala Lumpur will also be coming. But geographically, there is demand in East Malaysia, which is why we naturally went to Kota Kinabalu to provide for the needs of parents over there. Now, will we be going to other parts of Malaysia? The answer is yes, but over a period of time. And I wouldn't say where they are yet, but where the demand is, we shall go. All right. I also believe that the strategy of what LaSalle brothers have done for the education side, which is the St. John's model, I think can be replicated in smaller towns across Peninsula and East Malaysia. It's something we'll be working on over the next decade. Right. Overseas, as you know, we're opening Cheltenham College near Lake Como in Italy to get our foothold somewhere in Europe, but we expect to eventually have perhaps 2 boarding schools in Europe, perhaps one somewhere in Spain or Portugal, depending on location and the weather. Too far north is too cold for a lot of students. Just where the Mediterranean area, it's great weather, great food, and a great experience for students. One of the other things we'll be working on with Cheltenham College is also the exchange of students from Italy to Cheltenham in UK and vice versa. Cheltenham is also, not us under our control, but Cheltenham is also open in Oman and in China. So, of course, we will not go to Oman and China because they're already there. But other areas in the world that we can look at would be, depends where the demand is. Okay? Because right now, nothing yet, but other than Southeast Asia and Europe.
There's a lot of planning and half of it is going into execution. How do you foresee the challenges in managing effectively towards all the program currently that we are having right now?
Yes. To manage all these schools, we need to have a good team.
Okay.
And we have a very great team who managed to run all these schools properly, run it well, made changes and recruited dynamic people in that organization. And it's basically the team at the end of the day and the accountability and the systems behind it. Now, MA being a listed company means our governance standards are very, very high, reporting standards are very high, and that makes sure that all employees, whether you're on the support side or the academic side, you will be held accountable for the quality of service you provide to either the student or the backup services that you provide. So quality is essential, and we really do focus on that.
And I'm talking about the strategies or action does the group plan to implement in order to effectively addresses all the different challenge in the education sector in the near term or even in the long term?
Actually, the real challenges in the primary sector and secondary sector are really not a lot of challenges. Okay. The real challenge that we face is in the tertiary sector, okay, which is the university sector. On this area, MAA is also involved in a college called that does certificates, diplomas, and degrees. It's Imperium International College, which was previously HELP College of Arts and Technology. Now that's based in KL also. And the difficulties of the tertiary sector has been that there are just too many colleges and universities around, which means there's just not enough students. Now, a lot of the colleges and universities in Malaysia had historically dependent on foreign students, okay, and they'd come from all over the world, many from Africa, from China, and Indonesia, and the rest of Southeast Asia, where they see education in Malaysia being far superior to their own country. Countries like Bangladesh, Pakistan also send students to Malaysia. Unfortunately, since COVID came along, the number of foreign students that have entered Malaysia has dropped. And that's made it very difficult for even our college, Imperium International College, to recruit students. So the solution to that would be we would just have to increase our marketing and hopefully our regulators, our immigration department, won't be too strict.
Hopefully.
Hopefully not too strict on students coming in, at least during this period where the industry is trying to recoup the losses that it incurred during the COVID period. But going forward, I think in terms of the Malaysian curriculum, the government school system, there is definitely efforts by the Malaysian government to improve the quality of education they provide to students. And in this respect, our role would be to provide the support services to those students in the form of tuition.
All right.
Right. Now, during the COVID period, we found that a lot of students who could not come for tuition went online. And we foresee that in the longer run, students who need support in the form of tuition, some form of online tuition support will be needed. We are exploring that area. In this particular area, Kasturi runs a face-to-face operation and an online operation. Okay? It's called Kazum, which is Kasturi Academic Online. Okay? So if you're not based in Kuala Lumpur and don't have the ability to get to really decent tuition centres, students from anywhere in Malaysia can get that tuition support by going on Kazum. Right? So going forward, I think the education for Malaysia will do well. The government is committed to providing good quality education. Our role, being the private sector, is to support the needs of parents who want more than just the government system.
Correct, and definitely takes a whole lot of work to ensure the ecosystem of education is boosted to the place that we really wanted to achieve. And Tunku, all the programs is set, students are in placement. How can we ensure the effectiveness of this program? For example, like how should we do track record progress? How can we stay alert to our current progress so we know during the evaluation what is to improve? Right.
Okay. If we're talking about effectively we're talking about database of children. Okay. Now, to do that, we have to have an effective operating management system. Okay. And in this respect, we have a system which runs, tracks every result, performance of every student in the system. All right. And we'll be able to monitor their progress in terms of how they've been doing in not exams but in tests. Have they been able to progress, improve? So an effective operating system, computer system is essential for that. And we do run all our business using that effective tuition system, IT systems.
Maybe lastly, Tunku, you can share me your hopes and advice towards improving, boosting the education system within Malaysia. What's the future and what's the next plan?
Okay, you're talking about the government system. Well, I think the government system, what Sarawak is doing is very impressive. The state itself has taken the liberty to decide what its people needs and has moved along on their own to teach subjects in different languages. And I think going forward, this role can be emulated by the rest of the country to allow students to be able to be taught in the languages their parents prefer them or they prefer to undertake. Subjects like mathematics, science, really ought to be, you should be given the choice of language to learn in, because it's such a technical area. And if you want to go into the universities, not just universities, but eventually, subsequent universities, get a job. And you want to get a job that's international, high quality, high paying jobs, not just necessarily in Malaysia, but overseas. You want to be earning in US dollars or euros, so you can send home that valuable money to your family, your parents. You must be able then to communicate in basically the international languages of the world.
Correct. And definitely it's a pleasure to have you here with us in the studio, the Executive Chairman of MAA Group Berhad, Tunku Datuk Yaacob Khyra. I would say this is definitely an inspiring journey to have to look at it. And definitely for those of you who missed out my conversation with Tunku Datuk Yaacob, you can look and feature all of our discussion here within AWANI.com and across all social media platforms. And that's it for Niaga AWANI. I'm Nina Rosman. See you next time.